Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to WCS America. We are here in the America group as we get ready to move into that next match after a super exciting first series. But before we go into the rest of the North America group, we want to talk a little bit about some of the other awesome events that are coming up in the StarCraft scene. Of course, we've been talking a lot about these before. WCS ANZ, WCS playoffs coming up for EU and NA, WCS Valencia, lots of WCS, as well as GSL, and of course, other awesome things. I know Nathanius is streaming at some points during the time, so yeah. My name is Fear Dragon, and I'm joined by Roderick at the desk.
I've got nothing to say. I am so sorry. I have nothing to say.
Oh my god. Well, okay, you've got to have something to say about this next upcoming series.
Of course.
JonSnow versus MCanning. Legends collide.
I mean, one legend, one really good player.
Yeah.
This is the kind of match that you just want to put 5 on it, man. You're feeling it, and you just wonder, did JonSnow get any sleep, or did he stay up all night studying those VODs off the can himself? We are about to find out, Ravi, as we have loaded into our second series of this group. This should be a really fun series, and I know you're incredibly hyped for it. Over here on the right bottom side, we're looking at the main base of the man that asked Rogue for replays on how to beat MCanning, but Rogue said he never won a game. It is JonSnow.
And spawning up here in the top left-hand corner of the map, the red Protoss player. Maru was asking him for practice games versus Zest, but this guy didn't want to shatter Maru's confidence by 20-0ing him. It is MCanning.
Now, if you guys are new to this show and to this broadcast, and you guys are wondering, what are all these silly comments? Now, MCanning is a very popular guy in this community. He has a fantastic Protoss stream, and every single day when he goes live, he makes a funny tweet, and in between the lines, he basically says that he's the greatest thing to ever happen to this planet, and that you should be watching it. And at first, people were not totally sure how to feel about it, but it really caught on. His tweets are funny, they're inspirational, and we like to talk MCanning like he's the best thing that has ever happened to us. And he kind of is. We all love MCanning. There's literally no one that doesn't like the can.
Yeah, he is pretty amazing. The only people who don't like the can are his opponents, but even afterwards they have to respect him because they still lost to a god.
Yes. I mean, one of his tweets was, you wanted a Protoss stream and what you got was a legend. And it really struck me. I'm like, man, those one-liners are good.
You know, he has David Kim on speed dial. David Kim always asking him for those balance suggestions. But one of the important things I want to talk about, because, you know, memes aside, MCanning is actually looking really good lately. He's been getting better and better.
None of that was a meme, Rafi. Stop it.
That's not a meme. But JonSnow, he is Mr. Consistency. He is known for being one of the most consistent players in the entire NA scene, I would say a lot of the foreign scene. But funny enough, right now, this given moment in time, I actually feel like JonSnow is not looking as strong as he normally does. He's still a very good player right now. He still has a really good shot at making out of this group. But I actually think this is one of the possibly the best moments for MCanning to beat someone like JonSnow.
It is indeed possible. MCanning, we know that he's been playing a lot. He always plays a bunch of games, and I'm with you. JonSnow used to be that player that he will not beat Scarlet or Neep, but he will beat pretty much everybody else from America and Canada. Obviously, I'm not going to say he would beat Special or something, but that almost feels like a different region, because it is a different region when it comes to the WCS circuit. But JonSnow normally does not lose against other NA players, unless your name is Neep or Scarlet. But these days, he's looking indeed a little more vulnerable. Good saves on the drones,
yeah,
but that's still a little bit expensive, but he's only going to cancel 2 of them because he's like, I kind of need a support role anyway against the potential Stargate opening that he has indeed, I want to say identified already, but he didn't identify it, but he's expecting it.
Yeah, I mean, it's safety spore crawler regardless. MCanning, the other thing that he is very well known for is he's known as the Disruptor King. He is known for his Disruptor play, but even in this kind of matchup, even for someone like MCanning, he still loves opening up with those Stargate openings. He knows how important they are. And he's really diversified his play, I would say, over the past 7 or 8 months and shown that, you know what, he's not just a Disruptor guy.
And I think that's kind of what you need as well. It's always cool and important as well to have your own style and have your own touch to it. But if you can't play standard, you're going to have a tough time, because the better your opponents will get, eventually those players, they will have an answer for your particular special style. Because there's a reason why the meta is the meta. It's just because in general that's the best way to play. And of course it's awesome to be really good with Blinkstalkers and Disruptors. But if that's all you do every single game, you know, players like JonSnow will take advantage of that. And they'll play different against you than they would normally play. Wow, that was very silly. Why did he do that?
The Adept was about to die. I think he thought he might be able to save the Adept by picking up the Ling, but he ends up losing the Adept, unfortunately, but still gets the wall down. He'll be able to eventually warp. Oh, he cancels the building, and the Ling is actually going to get a full scout on everything. Oh, that was a little unfortunate timing.
Yeah, and he used the energy.
But you know, the other way you can look at that, though, Roddy, is that MCanning is just saying, look, it doesn't matter what you scout. So
Ravi, keep it together. I know you're excited over here.
You have no idea. My adrenaline is pumping probably more so than MCanning's, because MCanning is, I'm sure, calm as a toothpick.
I love it. There's a roach one going down on the other side of the map. This kind of stuff is really annoying, though. It's just like, my probes are not mining, my oracles are revealed. Now my opponent knows that I have a Phoenix and double oracle. Of course, JonSnow should be aware, I want to say, of the possibility of the Phoenix flying in, lifting the Queen, and then the Oracle's going to town on this mineral line. I'm actually a little bit surprised to see how vulnerable that main base is. And I feel there's a real possibility for MCanning to do some damage. Where's that Phoenix, man? What are you doing?
It's just chilling up in the top right-hand side, so he probably wants to try and get some utilization out of that, at least going after some Overlords or something. But like you said, the Oracle's going to pop in, but they actually just go for a Revelation in the natural. They don't go for a whole lot of drone damage. He still has some energy left over, but yeah, just really relying and saying, I just care about what you're doing. I don't actually care as much about the drone damage.
I'm kind of sad about that, Rafi, because I feel there was a possibility there to get at least a couple drones for free. You don't have to lose an Oracle.
He might get some drones with the Adepts over by the third base that are about to shade on in, and there's not a lot of defenses here, but ooh, really quick drone pull over there from JonSnow.
Yeah, but he's still going to end up losing a couple, like you said. He pulled quite a few drones, but not all of them. So that's 3 drones going down very quickly. Can this one Adept get number 4? In the end, number 4 did go down, so not too bad of a trade. But I still, like, that's the thing, though. If you use the Oracles as well and then the Adepts, the numbers really start racking up very quickly. Just getting 4 drones, yeah, that's nice, but that's, in the end, you want to get a little more when you open up with 2 Oracles and you also sacrifice a couple of Adepts.
You know, I'm with you in a lot of ways, but JonSnow didn't exactly drone up to like 65 or 70 workers or anything. And
that's why
he stuck around on 54 workers.
That's why it would have hurt even more. Now, of course, you can say because of that, MCanning has slightly more energy on his oracles, but he's been very reckless with that energy anyway. He's been throwing it around left, right, and center. So MCanning is obviously in a good position, but does he have enough at home? I don't really see that much here.
He's relying on good force fields right now. He needs to be able to siphon off some of these roaches and take him out with the Immortal. Storm is still a good ways away from finishing, but he has some High Templars out. He may decide to make an Archon, or is he going to just go for the long-term play? No, makes the Archon now. He knows he needs as many units as possible right now.
I mean, Immortals are good, but these are so naked. These Immortals are incredibly exposed. There is an Archon and a shield battery, and our Archon is obviously going to be able to tank up a little bit.
He's trying to bait him into the stasis traps, but JonSnow's just not falling for it.
I honestly feel if he didn't use all his energy on Revelations and stasis wards, then the Oracles could have cleaned up the Hydras, and then it would have been a very doable fight. Now I am not feeling this for MCanning at all. Yes, he still has these Immortals, but that's all he has. Even the Queens are joining in as well. And JonSnow is telling us, all right, guys, memes and jokes aside, I'm still JonSnow, and I don't lose against anyone in this WCS circuit, unless your name is Neepo Scarlet.
And I love it. I talked a little bit about this actually last season, but JonSnow has made a huge effort to try and mix in a lot more all-ins and just become a little bit more dangerous again, because he was playing so standard and so solid and macro-oriented that he kind of lost his old school name. He used to be known as the low drone king, because he'd always cut drones like 5 to 10 drones earlier than any other Zerg, just power out units and go for an attack 45 seconds, 30 seconds earlier than every other Zerg player, and it would just catch so many people off guard, especially Protoss players who have very thin timings on everything that they do. So those 30 seconds make a huge difference. And
yeah, we can be a little bit critical of MCanning there as well,
Yeah.
because he did have the Oracle, so technically you have all the information, and he did see that the drone count wasn't incredibly high. There was no base where there was clearly 20 plus drones on the minerals. There was no fourth base yet on the way. I felt there was more potential with the Oracles to A, either do damage, or B, at least get a better heads up of that attack, and then instead of rushing up to 62 probes, you could have stopped at maybe 54, 55 probes, and you throw up extra batteries. We saw that yesterday with Showtime's games. Even if you have 3 batteries, some of these pushes are incredibly hard to defend. If you just have 3 Immortals standing there, it's just not going to be enough. Now, I want to point out once again that the Hydra count was very low at first, and if he would have not gone for those stasis traps that didn't really add anything in the mix at all, and if he would have been using Revelation less because he threw them out multiple times at the same target almost, I think he could have picked up those Hydras, and then those Roaches start becoming a lot more vulnerable, because then it's just Roaches against Immortals.
that's a really hard call to make, though, because as soon as you start using Oracles offensively to take on a lot of Hydras, you're really, really hoping, like, okay, do I actually have enough? Is one more Hydra going to come in and just kill my Oracles and
The Hydra count
lose
was
everything?
that low that I actually don't like. It was at one point, you're looking at 4 or 5 Hydras. With 3 Oracles, that's very doable, especially if you get a proper engagement.
You only had 2 Oracles, though, right?
No, yeah, 3 in the end.
Okay, I must have missed the 3rd Oracle popping out.
Unless I'm crazy and I'm seeing double and my contact lenses are no longer good, but I'm pretty damn sure that in the end,
No,
you
I
had
trust
3
you. I
Oracles.
trust you.
And
All
3 Oracles against like 5 Hydras, that's a very doable fight. Obviously, if it's 2 Oracles, yeah, they won't do much in a fight, but 3? It's a pretty decent number, Ravi.
Okay. Well, we're going to be hopping into game number 2 pretty quickly to see how things are going to go as we jump in and introduce this player up here on the top left-hand corner of the map. Down 0-1, but still a legend. He is the red Protoss player, MCanning.
And a legend he will always be. Makes it into Challenger once again. He missed out on a couple of them, but it's good to have him back. It's not the first time for him. And this man is pretty much always part of the North America Challenger. For as long as I can remember. You said Mr. Consistency of the NA scene, because I think that title truly belongs to Nerdchill. But when it comes to the NA region, he deserves it as well. It is JonSnow. Multiple top 4 Challenger placements. Not surprised.
I mean, he last year got top 4 in Challenger every single season except for Montreal. He came just short, getting like top 6 or something.
Top 8, you mean?
Huh?
Top 8?
No, he got top 6 because it was double elimination bracket at the time. It was a different format.
Oh, yes, that is correct.
Yeah. So he got to the I would say like the qualification match for top 4, if you would.
These sprays.
He's gonna go for another. He's trying to block the spray. You can't block the spray.
Oh, I love it. These guys having a little bit of fun with it. That's the spray. The GG is the one of JonSnow, I
Yeah,
assume.
GG is the JonSnow one, and MCanning going to the GLHF.
You know, the funny thing is, when you see something like this, you just know that both of these guys, they have a massive smile on their face when that's going down. And yeah, that's beautiful as well. Like, of course, this is competition, guys, and it's serious, and there's a lot of money and potential, even trips on the line to other countries. But at the end of the day, it's good to see that these guys are still having fun with this game as well.
Oh, yeah. JonSnow and MCanning are both, I would say, pretty good friends. They talk, and of course, they always hang out at those Cheesadelphias. Actually, the last time they played was at the most recent Cheesadelphia, where MCanning did manage to take, I believe, one of the games off of JonSnow. He actually did fairly well for himself there.
Okay. I mean, obviously, MCanning is capable of taking a map of almost anybody in this competition. The real question is, though, can he show it when it matters the most? Because ladder games are awesome and fun and definitely say something about the skill level. But this is where it matters. This is where you have to shine. And these are the games that people will remember in the end.
Okay, Stargate coming out once again for MCanning. Pretty typical opening from a Protoss player. We didn't really get to see what MCanning's kind of longer-term plan was, and I think that is where MCanning finds a lot of his strength. It's the long-term play, the late game where he gets up a lot of those power units, is able to show off some of the, I would say, the pretty flashy micro he likes to go for.
Ooh, a Baning Nest here in game number 2 by JonSnow.
I like it. I like it.
It is different. Now, obviously,
I mean, this is a pretty aggressive Baneling Nest, right? This is a really early Baneling Nest with a lot of Lings being made.
Yep. So there is a chance that maybe he hopes that MCanning just stays defensively, that this drone or this adept doesn't really see what it's supposed to see. Now I wonder if he's like, oh, that's actually, maybe you're supposed to have a few more drones. That is a hard call to make though. Now what is a less hard call to make is to fire up an Oracle. Now he is making an Oracle after that Phoenix, but it obviously means that he's gonna have energy on it a little bit later. MCanning is still completely in the dark, and if this Phoenix is only hunting for Overlords and will not spot those Zerglings, things could get very dicey very quickly, because Ravi, this is not a good wall.
I think that Phoenix is actually going to spot out a bunch of those lings, at least in the top right. You see the main lings being made as well. That's a perfect scout, but does he have the appropriate reaction? Is he going to start creating the Roddy walls?
What did he just cancel there? Was that a Twilight or a Robo? Or
I'm not sure. It went down too quick.
I mean, now that's also important that you... Okay, this is not a full wall array yet. No, it is. So even if this Pylon dies, he will live. He does have to worry a tiny bit maybe about his Cybernetic score. Can JonSnow just get the Cybernetic score? If I'm JonSnow here, I don't go for the Pylon, I go for the Cybernetic score. Or
why not go for the Pylon and the Cybernetic score? Why not both?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, and he actually busts down through the wall. He's now through and on top of the Adepts. Oh, Phoenix does lift up the Baneling, so it's going to be held in position for a little bit, but eventually it's going to lower on top of the probes.
Oh, and it does connect with a lot of those workers. It's safe to say that MCanning is going to lose quite a few workers here. The real question is how many. The Oracle is starting to run out of energy, and it is out of energy at this point, but he did re-wall, and that is incredibly important.
Yeah, being able to re-wall, and he even has one probe with a shield battery taking out Lings. Oh my god, how many kills does that probe have? That probe has... okay, actually, wait, no, wait, what was killing things? What was killing things? Oh, it was a sentry.
Oh
my god, I got so excited for a probe right there.
I mean, that probe is actually just draining the battery now.
Yeah.
It's still alive. The probe is like, hey, I don't deserve to die.
Okay. Well, we end up having the Lings having to get forced back. And yes, JonSnow killed off 12 workers, but the worker counts are relatively even. How do you feel like the situation is now?
I think in the end it's okay for MCanning, because this means obviously that JonSnow is going to have a tough time tacking up. But on the other end, you could say, isn't MCanning going to have a tough time going up to 3 bases? And that I agree with. Is this still a full wall off now?
Yeah, it's a full wall off.
Okay, I actually really hate full wall offs, because what do you even... Could you kill the Pylon here, I guess? But that means that you maybe unpower this gate, or maybe this Pylon is barely in range.
I think he's okay on the Pylons.
Actually, I like it for JonSnow. First, I thought I like it for MCanning, but I think it's going to take so long before MCanning can truly do something on the other side of the map, and at the same time still stay safe at home for all 3 bases, that I think this is actually very okay for JonSnow. I think MCanning wasted a bit too much time. The last minute and a half of this game, I feel almost nothing happened.
Oracle stasis trap in the main base. Just gets 2 drones, not too much.
I mean, the worker count is still not great for JonSnow, but this is that phase in the game where he can get all those workers out. The Adepts are shading out, but he started resonating glaives for a bit. And you can see that even MCanning is a little bit indecisive now. He's like, nah, maybe I shouldn't get Resonating Glaives. So he cancelled it and he went for Charge instead, which I do think is a better call, because it's too late for a straight-up Resonating Glaives attack, but it's just in time for a regular Adept attack, and maybe pick off a couple of drones here. It's quite nice, but JonSnow with the excellent reaction is not going to end up losing much.
Yeah, and it looks like most of these Adepts are going to go down before the Shaking Complainers, and actually all of them end up falling. Another Stasis Trap attempt, but JonSnow is once again on top of it. Sacrifices 1 drone for the Stasis Trap and just goes back to mining.
Yeah, very well done. And this is kind of what I mentioned before. We're 7 minutes into the game now, and MCanning is still stuck on 2 bases. And of course, JonSnow, his stack was later. Oh, he's actually going to end up losing these Adepts as well. Things are going from bad to worse for the Can here. He's going to end up losing these Adepts, losing that probe as well. The Pylon's going to get picked off, and he will be stuck on 2 bases for a little bit longer. And despite the fact that JonSnow does a cute force fields, but also not good enough, as there is a hole on the left side. Even though JonSnow opened up with all the links and those banelings and that early game aggression, he has bought enough time for himself. He transitioned, and now you're looking at a 3-base Zerg already getting into that Hydra potential Bane phase of the game, while MCanning is still stuck on 2 bases, and that's not a good place to be.
I mean, the entire pacing of this game is much more along the lines of what JonSnow is used to over MCanning. MCanning loves having those 3 bases, maybe even going up to 4 bases, getting up the big army, getting up the big army engagement, disruptor hits, or various connections with Storm, etc. JonSnow is a guy who he can play pretty versatilely across all aspects of the game, but he loves getting aggressive in the early game and turning these into these weird situations. And I think this is where he just feels more confident. He knows how to play from the situation a lot better than MCanning.
I don't think MCanning lost this game if he will end up losing it because of the Banelings. Did they do damage? Yes. Was it bad? It did a little bit more than it should have done, but I don't think that's why he's going to lose it if he does end up losing it. He will lose it because of the 2.5 minutes after that Baneling bust where he just didn't do anything. He didn't go up to 3 bases as quickly as he could have. He was indecisive. He changed his mind multiple times, and then when he finally went for an attack, it just didn't do enough, and then he still couldn't defend his base at home. So yeah, he could have had this base up and running minutes ago if he would have made the correct calls. And obviously that's always scary because you are still worried about the next wave of Zerglings and Banelings. But even if that would have been the case, then it's sort of okay to lose that Nexus because you have a target unit anyway and you should never like straight up die. The worst thing that could happen is your opponent stays on a low drone count and doesn't really get doesn't get anything else besides the Nexus.
Okay, JonSnow, okay, he's gonna set off the Stasis Trap with the Lings, so the Banelings do not get caught by that. Storm is not quite done. It's about to finish up in a few seconds, and this is not that many Hydras.
No, this is actually kind of a weird attack by JonSnow because the cannons are done.
Oh, the Banelings will get to the mineral line.
It's a good Storm.
Yeah, good Storm. Banelings only connect with 4 workers, so that's a pretty good defense so far from MCanning.
Excellent defense indeed. Saves the Archon as well. Look at that Archon, it's so low on HP. JonSnow would love to get it. Now JonSnow does have 71 drones, so he was even droning up a little bit during this attack. I thought the attack was weird, especially because it started before Baneling's speed. In the end, I mean,
it's kind of like a fake out attack to scare the Protoss player, and you can see that MCanning's still only on around 51 workers. I think he may have even cut workers during some of that attack, just being a little bit afraid of things.
And of course, once again, losing a few more probes. He ended up losing 4 more, I believe, so 18 in total at this point. Now Hydra speed is going to finish up. Baneling speed is going to be ready for the next attack. Now we do know that with Immortals out, with Archons, I don't think MCanning should be moving out though. Fighting on creep is going to be impossible. Even if you have Storm. I honestly do not believe he can fight on creep. Maybe he's just going to push it back, and then it's obviously the correct call.
Yeah,
I don't like to see him commit here.
He doesn't have a wait, where is his Warp Prism? He has a Warp Prism.
On the left bottom side.
Oh, I see.
This is not a good call by MCanning. I think he's in a lot of trouble. There's a Baneling rolling forward as well. That almost connects with these High Templars. Now he is pulling the army out of position, so you could say maybe the Warp Prism can do a lot of damage. But if he ends up losing High Templars here, it's absolutely not worth it.
Okay, with some good storms, he can still maybe take a good engagement. Ooh, JonSnow a little bit disconnected with those Hydras on the right-hand side, but he's waiting for those Banelings. The Banelings come crashing on forward for a moment, but another storm zones him out. High Templars trailing behind. Are they going to start to lose their lives? One goes into an Archon. Still a couple of storms left over, and he makes it back to the safety of these photon cannons.
Yeah, good defense at home as well by JonSnow. He left a couple Queens and Zerglings behind to deal with the Zealots that MCanning was warping in. Now MCanning is going to try his luck one more time, and this time the Lings are a little bit further out of position. So in the end, that move out sort of worked. He pushed the creep back and
that positioning
saved most of his High Templars. MCanning is making better fights now, but he still needs a big victory to truly say like, all right, he's totally back in this game and things are going fine. But I guess at least his base is safe here because he's got the cannons and the battery. So this is very hard to break with Hydra Bane. Running into Storm is one of the most difficult things to do.
And that is kind of the funny thing about JonSnow's situation, right? Is that he's been on this Hydraling Bane tech for a while, and he isn't really looking to go into lurkers right now. He's getting up upgrades and everything, but in terms of tech, he's not really developing. He's mostly just boosting his economy, and that's fine for a while. Okay, there's the Infestation Pit coming down. He is starting to think about some other transitionary tech, because eventually MCanning can get up to some really scary compositions and units that it becomes hard to just deal with the Hydraling Bane.
Good cleanup on most of these Zealots here. Like, it looked like the Warp Prism was getting some work done, but in the end, that's just 4 drones. It's a lot of minerals. But MCanning is buying time for that 4th base. And yeah, as you mentioned it, there is an Infestation Pit on the way, and there is a few more drones being produced as well. What I don't really understand is that JonSnow is going to let him get this 4th base. Once cannons are up, once shield batteries are up and pilots and stuff, that's when it becomes a lot harder to defend. Now, MCanning left a couple of units behind everywhere. I think this is going to be JonSnow's moment. He's like, I'm maxed out on Hydra Bane. this is where I start fighting. This is where we start trading, because I don't want you to sit back forever on the Immortal Archon.
Ooh, big storm potential here from that High Templar, but he's not paying attention. He's focused on the other attack. Also in the main base, I think there's an Overlord that maybe drops some Banelings in, trying to get some damage done. But now we end up seeing JonSnow congregating his army around that third base, ignoring the fourth. Is MCanning going to be able to get here in time to defend?
That was actually a very nice attack. It was hard to catch everything at once, but we saw the storm was missed, and that's because MCanning was microing his probes against those Baneling drops, and one of them absolutely connected. As 20 workers went down. Now a few more probes are going to get picked off. I love it. Even picking up some Hydras as well. This is going to drop in the back. Now MCanning is going to clean this up.
I mean, he is going to clean this up thanks to a lot of these storms. The Hydras also unloading inside the natural are going to go uncontested as they start sniping off even more workers, down to just 28. MCanning, he's got a dream, but that's kind of all he has right now.
Yeah, I love the way that JonSnow did that. He knows that it's so hard to attack into storms, so why not attack at multiple locations at once with Dropper Lords. A couple of Hydras over here on the south side, and the majority of the units on the right top side, and MCanning knows it. He simply lost a few too many workers. GG. JonSnow takes the series. I think especially in this game too, I think there was a lot more potential for MCanning if he would have made some better choices after that initial Baneling bust. Because he tried to go for the hold. Now the wall did fall a little bit later, but it wasn't bad. It really was very playable as long as he would have been quick and, you know, responsive to what happens now in this weird game. And you said it as well. JonSnow was like a fish in the water, making all the correct calls at home, tacking up, and MCanning was doing a little bit of everything, but in the end his start base was delayed for like 4 or 5 minutes, and that's an insane amount of time.
I mean, the biggest, most important thing to remember, Roddy, is that even a god like MCanning still starts off with 12 workers and a Nexus. So if you can fight him closer to the time where you're on equal grounds with someone as good as MCanning, then you're going to have your best shot. So JonSnow, yeah, going for the aggressive plays, he's a little bit more comfortable kind of transitioning out from that sort of stage of the game. And absolutely, you were right. I think that MCanning not feeling as confident or comfortable about taking that third base kind of just goes to show you that JonSnow knew how to play better from that situation.
Yep, JonSnow just capitalized on the room that MCanning gave him. Because as a Zerg, if you do make that many links and that many Banes, you need to do more than what he actually did. He did some damage, but he needed to do more. And that is that scary phase. Like, do I make units now? Do I go for another wave of attacks? Or do I tack up? He decided to drone up and tack up. But then you also know, it's like, if my opponent expands now, there's nothing I can do about it, because if I do make those units, I have no drones anyway. So he couldn't do much about the Nexus that MCanning could have taken, but MCanning didn't take it. And by the time that he did finally take it, it felt like it was a little bit too late. But it was a fun series, though.
Yeah, still a fun series. And of course, that means that we are lined up for 2 other really fun series. Coming up next is going to be Epic versus